Ryan Gladry here, Larry Smith, Brad Sturdy, Mike Kegley. It's Big Sports Radio as we're getting into the Memorial Day weekend. Glad you're spending part of it with us. Lots coming up as we've talked about. The Big Ten is about to expand from 14 to 18 teams coming up here on July 1st. And we've already talked to some guys from USC and from Oregon. Well, coming up here at the bottom of the hour, we've got Percy Allen from the Seattle Times talking about UW, the Washington Huskies, as they begin to make their move coming up here, starting here this fall, joining the Big Ten. Also, Ben Jones of Penn State is along, the Penn State insider. We haven't talked to him in quite a bit, talking a little bit about the stadium stuff out there. Now, we did interview Ben before the news broke about James Franklin. So let's get to that. I think you're off the top, guys. Kind of explain what Coach Franklin did, and do we know why he did it?
Yeah, this is odd, right? I mean, this is one of those things. I actually had I've had multiple like coaches tell me I never get involved with like situations that aren't my area of expertise, right? I mean, never get involved in that, because if you do, you just open yourself up for this kind of stuff. So, let the doctors be doctors and let the trainers be trainers and all that stuff.
Yeah, this reminds me of what we saw back in the 80s, when we were in high school and college, when, it's kind of like you'd get hit in the head, you'd be a little loopy, and the coach would say, "What day is it?" And you'd tell them Tuesday, and they'd say, "Perfect, it's Tuesday," and you were fine. But the world has changed so much since then. If this is true, it's amazing to me that someone would put at risk a job as good as the Penn State head coaching job, trying to contradict a medical professional in today's world. That is insane, assuming it's true, which we don't know right now.
I'll tell you, I have had these types of situations where I firmly believe that someone is like healthy. Like, I mean, but if the trainer says no,
yep,
and the doctor says no. We've even had a situation where a trainer said yes, but the doctor said not until I get an MRI, and just to make sure. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I got more kids out, but I was like, all right, that's what they said. I may not like it. You may not like it, but it is what it is. And you guys got to deal with it. Right. And that's part of the deal. And that's why they're professionals. That's why they don't tell you who to play shortstop. So, well, they might, but you don't have to listen to them when they tell you who to play at shortstop or who to play at center or who to play at quarterback. But you need to listen to them in this situation because they're the experts.
Yeah, totally agree. Stay away from being a coach in medical affairs.
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't want or a bad doctor, like the movie Any Given Sunday. James Woods, just a bad guy. Anyway, the story is a former doctor, a former Penn State team doctor, alleges that Coach James Franklin, tried to mess around with some medical decisions involving players on his team, trying to free up a scholarship. Again, all these are all allegations, and so we'll see where this thing goes. Meanwhile, one thing we did get a chance to talk to Ben about is they're moving forward with a $700 million renovation of Beaver Stadium. I mean, and the line I thought was hilarious was they're winterizing it. And I'm like, what are they putting a dome on it? How do you winterize a 100,000 seat open stadium in central Pennsylvania? But basically they're going to do some things, improve the pipes, insulation, that kind of thing, getting ready to host playoff games, since that's a very strong possibility come December. That's
wild when you think about it now that we have this new playoff format with the home games coming in those first couple rounds. It's going to be, I will tell you this. I'm very excited to see these college football playoff games once it gets started. I'm really excited. I mean, no matter who's in it, whether there's a bunch of Big Ten teams, whatever, I will be watching. I will tell you that.
I'm so ready. I've already kind of budgeted for the pots of chili that'll be made to watch all these games. I mean, this is going to be fantastic. And when you see $700 million to renovate, I mean, the bottom line is what's the cheapest we've seen a stadium go for? 1.5 billion or something like that. So it's probably, I know this sounds crazy, it's probably a good deal.
Yeah, it's economically sound. 700 million.
It's fiscally conservative.
Almost as much money as Caitlin Clark is making in endorsements here as a rookie in the NBA.
No
Almost.
kidding.
I mean, this is just fantastic. 28 million already with her Nike deal, and now this week becoming the first athlete since Michael Jordan to have a signature basketball line as she signs a deal with Wilson. Incredible.
Yeah, she's incredible. I mean, and you know what? Charles Barkley, I don't know if you saw Charles Barkley the other day on Inside the NBA, where he said everybody wants to tear her down. She's the reason people are watching your games right now.
Yeah.
And they need to be celebrating her. And I know that I heard Breanna Stewart say, hey, she's going to be good. She can do some things. Let her figure it out. She's just a rookie. I heard some of the kind of old heads, I guess, would say, do this. But a lot of them aren't that way. A lot of people are jealous. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's sad really, because it's just a girl who wants to play basketball, and she just happens to be a marketable person, and everybody seems to like her across the country. And she's kind of she's brought people to your game. Embrace it, celebrate it.
Yeah, the rising tide lifts all boats. These gals who are attacking Caitlin Clark are ridiculous. I know a former ESPN broadcaster, threw out some particularly poor comments in regards to why Caitlin Clark is popular. And to me, it's like, you got somebody who loves the game, who is a revolutionary shooter, ride her just the way the NBA rode Steph Curry. And I'm a little bit bitter at Wilson because I tried to get them to come out with a brick that would be named after me. And I thought it'd be perfect for my shooting ability. Got this brick, the Kegley brick. They were not interested.
No, they did that. They did that. Because I built an addition onto my house with it, so I know they did.
Was that you got the Kegley brick? Wow, that's awesome.
Wasn't that what Chris Dudley shot from the foul line? Wasn't that? I thought that was the brick.
Oh, a lot of people
brick.
A lot of people think they're me, Brad, but I'm the original brick.
I requested it. I knew it was good and sturdy.
Do you love lamp?
You love what I did there?
Just don't let those guys from PBS get over here.
I knew that bricks were good and sturdy. So I said, no. There you go. I want the kegs. Give me the kegs.
You got both of us there.
Yeah.
You got both.
How about that?
Brick and sturdy.
I've never been insulted by a guy in a 3-piece suit and a tux all together.
Yeah. Did you see? By the way, did you see Larry's promo shots for his Ion stuff? He's not in a suit. What is that about? I thought he slept in a suit. I didn't know that he had ever. I thought he was born with a tie on.
Wait a minute, Brad. I'm going to break some news here. Larry is coming out with a line of suit pajamas.
Suit jammas.
Larry Smith suit jammas.
Tie. That's right. Exactly.
That way you're dressed for success even while you sleep.
It's like a zip up onesie with a tie.
Yep, that's right. You got to run to Walmart at 11 o'clock at night. No problem. You're good to go.
Larry gets up out of bed.
Some dress shoes and go.
You may not sleep well, but you'll sleep formally.
He's got his suitsy on. He goes right into Walmart and no problem.
There you go. That's right.
By the way, we should look like shoes.
We should get the shameless plug. Indiana at LA on Friday night, 10 o'clock Eastern time. And I'll be there with Autumn and Megan. We had a really good first week and hope everyone joins us this week at 9 o'clock Eastern for that. Let's move on. Where was I? NBA Combine. Meanwhile, it's now passed. How did some Big Ten teams, Big Ten players do? And any big movement that we've seen coming out of that?
Well, I think, Coleman Hawkins had a really good game. I mean, he had one of those games when you just watch it and said, man, this guy's really got a good feel. I think there were a lot of scouts who watched that and said, this kid can play in this league. He really does fit the league well. As Zach Edey showed off the 3-point range. And here's the reality. If Zach Edey can shoot the three, he can play in the NBA because he can space the field. Now, defensively, he's still a liability a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's also, not everybody can shoot. So a 7'4" guy who can kind of defend the rim a little bit can still be effective, especially if he can space the floor on offense, in addition to being almost unguardable as a post-up guy. So, yeah, I think that can be good. There's a couple guys who had, kind of raised their stock in that regard.
A 9 5'7" standing reach is just unbelievable. So he might be able to go to his tippy toes to dunk almost. I mean, that is just amazing. And, Edie's one that I think we were probably higher on than most people because he gives everybody fits, whether it's a big guy like Kofi Coburn, whether it's people trying to play small ball against him. And as Brad said, he has more challenges when he gets spread out on the on the defensive end. But there's a lot of good coaches in the NBA who will figure out based on the opposing lineup, hey, I can get 3 minutes out of Zach Edey. You do that, once a quarter. In 12 minutes, he might put up 12 points and 8 rebounds. I mean, you just have to be smart and put him in positions for success. And I think he's a little better equipped to have success than people thought he was prior to this.
Down as we are under a month to go, or right at a month to go until the NBA draft 2024 version. One thing that's about to change, it's pretty much a done deal at this point. The NBA leaving TNT. And so the iconic Inside the NBA show with Ernie, Charles, Kenny, and Shaq about to go away. I'll tell you, having known those guys, I don't think Ernie follows. He's already basically said he's going to stick with Turner. He's not going to go to NBC. Of the four, I think that Charles Barkley would be the one that probably would continue. Kenny Smith has mentioned for a while the travel back and forth to LA out east has kind of worn on it. I mean, of course, money talks, you don't know. Shaq seems disinterested. I mean, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but it'll be different after next season to not see that quartet together talking basketball.
Inside the NBA is one of the best shows on television. Chuck and Shaq and Kenny, and it's just fantastic. It's just a lot of it's just the banter is great. It's just a lot of fun to listen to that show and watch that show and see them go back and forth. I'm gonna miss it. It's the one thing, like, I don't like talking head shows. I really don't enjoy them. I'm not gonna lie, but I like, except for ours. No, except for
thank you.
No, but on TV, like, you know what I mean? I don't really enjoy them that much because they say the same, especially with like daily shows, because the same thing over and over. Those guys are fun. They make it fun. They're actually entertaining. I actually turn on after the game to hear what they have to say. So entertaining.
It is funny because my boys watch the NBA every night, and they don't care for the ESPN show. Part of it's the over Stephen A. Smith, but they love TNT. And I wonder if Charles, he has so much talent when it comes to on screen. I wonder if he might be able to take the show himself with the right mix of people and maybe be almost as successful if he goes to NBC.
Well, I think NBC or ESPN, and that has been a hot mess for years. I remember back in 2015, the report I had was that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver took a video over to ESPN and said, "Fix this." And Bill Simmons, I know you're a big Bill Simmons fan, was so bad that they actually they silenced him. I've never seen an analyst like silenced. But the back half of the first half, he was not allowed to talk because he ruined the flow. He didn't know what he was talking about, and he threw off the flow of this. And so much too, and Tony Cordero, our producer, can speak to this, is the producer, the one behind the scenes, pulling all the ropes, making sure in the right direction. And that's where Tim Kiley, who's been the executive producer of that Inside the NBA for going on 30 years. He's been there forever. Tony, you think? Tony,
yeah,
25, 30 years?
Yeah, he's been there at least 25, 30 years. And, it's really going to be sad to see that go away. It was a staple of NBA coverage. They did an amazing job. Those four really gelled.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think
the big key, you can't win an Emmy. Like, you're done. Ernie wins an Emmy. Greg Olson, didn't he win an Emmy? Now Tom Brady replaces him. So Charles won for like best personality. He's out. You're out. You win, you're out.
And I think ESPN recently went down the wrong path with showing Stephen A. Smith arriving at the game and the whole speech and the Spike Lee thing. It's like, I'm sorry, but they've totally lost their path on this. And I just turned it off. I mean, waited for the game and did something else.
I muted it. When I heard Steven's going to give a speech to the Knicks, I muted it. I looked up and said, I have 19 minutes till tip off. I'll come back then. I went out and grilled for my family and came back and watched the game. So, but yeah, we'll miss those guys. One more season of Inside the NBA on TNT. And now it appears that 3 NBA partners are going to be NBC, ESPN, and even Amazon. By the way, we should, one side note, back to college football. We'll wrap this thing up in a nice, neat little bow. ESPN and TNT reaching a 5-year agreement. TNT Sports will show some of the college football playoff games as a subcarrier for the ESPN rights of that. So TNT is still a part of it with their baseball coverage. Of course, obviously in March with college basketball. So we will still see Ernie. We just don't know who else will be around. So, but they are fantastic guys. We wish them the very best. Whatever lies next for them, we'll see what NBC comes up with. Okay, we've got lots to come up. Listen, hanging with us, we've got Big Ten baseball tourney talk coming up in a moment. We'll find out what's going on in Omaha. And at the bottom of the hour, Percy Allen from the Seattle Times joins us to talk UW. This is Big Sports Radio.